I rise today to discuss the nomination of Loretta Lynch to be our next Attorney General. Mr. President, it has been 131 days since President Obama nominated her for this position. By Monday, she will have waited longer on the Senate floor than the last 7 Attorney General nominees combined. When it comes to Ms. Lynch's nomination, it seems like we're setting records, but for all of the wrong reasons. And the irony of that is that she's probably one of the most qualified and least political Attorney General nominees that this chamber has seen in decades. She spent a significant portion of her career as a federal prosecutor in the Eastern District of New York, having twice served as the U.S. Attorney. There, she took on corrupt public officials and expanded the office's national security practice. She's also worked in private practice at one of the country's top law firms, where she specialized in commercial litigation, white-collar criminal defense, and corporate compliance. In 2011, she was recognized as the Federal Law Enforcement Officer Association Foundation's Honoree of the Year, and in 2014, she was honored as the Woman in Federal Law Enforcement Foundation's President's Award recipient. And she received support, no surprise, from all across the political spectrum. Just this week, Mr. President, even former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, hardly a great friend of the president, wrote that she was, quote, balanced, professional, and a dedicated public servant. He went on to write that he can, quote, further attest that her skill set seems very appropriate to the tough task she would face as Attorney General. The Major City Chiefs Association, which represents the 67 largest law enforcement agencies in the country, wrote to this United States Senate, Ms. Lynch has overseen many important criminal prosecutions for terrorism, organized crime, corruption, drug and gang-related cases. It's clear that her familiarity with the department, managing a fast-paced and high-profile office, as well as her integrity and private sector legal experiences, make her a qualified candidate. What are we waiting for? 25 former U.S. attorneys who worked in both Democratic and Republican administrations wrote to this body saying Ms. Lynch has the experience, temperament, independence, integrity, and judgment to immediately assume this critically important position. They should know. They should know. These are the folks that she's worked with closely and will continue to work as Attorney General, both as a federal prosecutor and in private practice. They've seen firsthand her character, her intellect, and her integrity. I once worked, Mr. President, for the Deputy Attorney General of the United States myself at the Department of Justice. And I know how close the collaboration is when things are working well between the Attorney General and the United States attorneys all throughout the United States of America, and it's something to see. I know it's become fashionable around this place to continually criticize our federal employees, but I'd recommend to our new colleagues that if they have the chance to ever go see the investiture of a new judge in their state, as I've had the chance to do in my state, and you sit in that room and you see the U.S. Attorney's Office represented there, you see the Federal Public Defender's Office represented there, the Drug Enforcement Agency, the FBI, the U.S. Marshals Service, you say to yourself, thank God I live in a country that's committed to the rule of law. Thank God I live in that country, instead of most of the countries around the world where they don't even know what the rule of law is. That's what we have in the United States. And the chief law enforcement officer of this country is our Attorney General. And everybody who's looked at this nomination from the outside has said she'd be an excellent Attorney General. So given all of that, it's awfully difficult to understand why she's had to wait so long just to receive a simple up or down vote. Has anyone challenged her qualifications? Come to the floor today and do it. Has anyone questioned her character or integrity? Of course not. Has she failed to provide necessary information to the Senate? It's my understanding that she testified for almost 8 hours and responded to about 900 questions for the record. Or is her nomination delayed just to make political points on completely unrelated issues? I've gotten to the point now where people come to my office and they've been nominated to be a judge, or they've been nominated to do something in the federal government, the first words out of my mouth are not congratulations anymore. The first words that come out of my mouth is, don't take it personally. Don't take this process personally. We are losing talented people that want to serve the United States of America in these important, in many cases, non-political jobs because the United States Senate can't confirm them. Because we tell somebody like Loretta Lynch, sorry, it's going to take you zillions of days before you're going to have the chance even to serve this country. It's not right. It's not right. I'm amazed at the capacity of people in this place to waste their own time, but we shouldn't be wasting other people's time. And unfortunately, the delay in confirming Ms. Lynch is having real-world consequences. Earlier this week, the former Deputy Attorney General expressed his concern that the protracted nomination process is adding unnecessary uncertainty at the Department of Justice. He highlighted the importance of having continuity in undertaking long-term investigations or in developing national security policies. And how it's harder to facilitate continuity the longer Ms. Lynch's nomination is delayed. But as I said, this has become in many ways the new norm in our politics, where these fights in Congress are having real-world consequences to the people we represent, are incredibly counterproductive to the people that we represent, whether it's shutting down the Department of Homeland Security or running the government on continuing resolutions or passing 2-week tax extender bills, for goodness sake. There's not a mayor or a county commissioner in the entire state of Colorado that could get away with governing like this, and neither should we. It's obvious to everybody watching the Senate that we haven't been productive. We haven't really been productive for a long time, but certainly for the last 90 days. We barely managed to keep the Department of Homeland Security open for another 6 months, passed a resolution of disapproval that the president will veto. At the very least, you'd think we could find the time to confirm Loretta Lynch as the nation's next Attorney General. Her experience, her temperament, her independence make her abundantly qualified for one of the most important positions that our country has. And she's waited too long to receive an up or down vote. And that's not because I'm worried about her. She's going to be fine no matter what she does. It's because I'm worried about the department, worried about our Homeland Security, worried about the willingness of other Americans to put their hand up and say, let me serve, for fear that they're just going to get caught in the crazy politics of the United States Senate. So, Mr. President, I look forward to supporting Ms. Lynch's nomination. I hope we'll have the opportunity to consider that nomination in the coming days. And with that, Mr. President,